Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Edward III, and we get to hear from King Edward III again today in Act 2, Scene 1. I warned you, he talks a lot. And in this scene, he's working with Lodovick to try to write a letter or a poem or something beautiful that he can give to the Countess of Salisbury to impress her, because he was very impressed by her when he found her in the castle that the Scottish army had ran away from as soon as the English army showed up. So he's asked Lodovick to help, and Lodovick started writing out something, to my fair and chaste, you're so like the moon. And he's like, no, she's not like the moon, she's like the sun. And don't talk of chastity, because I really don't want her to be chaste. I would rather chase after her and be able to win her than have her, be holding on steadfastly to her own virtue. And he's like, all right, and then what comes next? And Lodovick had thrown in a reference to the biblical Judith, not Judas, but Judith, who is known for violence against men. And he's like, no, that's all wrong too. He's like, what else do you have after that? And Lodovick is like, that's as far as I've gotten in writing this. And King Edward says, I thank thee then, thou hast done little ill, but what is done is passing ill. No, let the captain talk of boisterous war, the prisoner of immured dark constraint. The sick man best sets down the pangs of death. The man that starves, the sweetness of a feast. The frozen soul, the benefit of fire, and every grief his happy opposite. Love cannot sound well but in lovers' tongues. Give me the pen and paper, I will write. But soft, here comes the treasurer of my spirit. Lodovick, thou knowest not how to draw a battle. These wings, these flankers, and these squadrons argue in thee defective discipline. Thou shouldst have placed this here, this other here. So he starts out by rather passive-aggressively saying, okay, thanks, you've done enough, you can just stop now. But then he launches into this thing about people that basically what it boils down to is Lodovick is terrible at writing this poem because Lodovick has probably never been in love. You have to experience love to be able to talk about it, the same way that you would seek out a ship captain to talk about what war at sea is like, or you would talk to a man who's been a prisoner about what being imprisoned is like. You have to have been in love to be able to write about it. So he's like, never mind, give me the pen and paper, I'll write it myself. But then the Countess walks in and he's like, here she is, Lodovick, you were supposed to have protected the area so that she couldn't come up and surprise me like that. You're not very good at this. And the Countess comes in and she's like, hello, I have some words to share with my lovely lord here. And Edward turns to Lodovick and he's like, all right, you're going to go and where I just showed you to place people, make sure that you place them so that I can talk to her by myself. So it's just she and I, and nobody comes in and interrupts. And Lodovick is like, okay, I'm going. And he leaves. And then King Edward III and the Countess of Salisbury get to have a bit of a conversation. And we'll dig into that tomorrow because I don't want to stop halfway through. But we're going to get to hear from the Countess tomorrow. It's going to be somebody other than the king, but we'll get to hear from her tomorrow as the two of them have a little bit of a private chat. I'll see you then for that. Mwah.